turn off some of that racket. Hey everybody, it's Bob from TNT Customs, and it is TNT Tuesday, 2nd of June, 2020. Steve, how are you? Austin, Cotty, Dave, Vince, Carlos. Yeah, my thumbs are too fat too. So today, last week we talked about gladiator things and sliders and whatnots, and we have them literally hot off the presses. I won't even attempt to touch them because they're hot. The guys just got done welding. So without any further ado, so there is the driver's side Adventure Series slider for the JT. Same as our other sliders, has the same look and feel. The dimpled top panel for gripping, stepping. Hey Brian and Byron. They are a big slider. Took Jason and I all last week, some of the weekend, to get things to fit and designed and produced and built, but we probably need another week to get these. We're going to powder coat them tomorrow and then do the final install. The install is not as easy as the other Jeeps because of the length involved in this slider. The main tube is right at 90 inches. So that tells you how long the slider itself is. So I kind of overkilled the mounting feet. I'll show you them a little bit here. We have the passenger side one is laying out here. Cooling because it was too hot to even try to put on the Jeep. But their secondary purpose of that, sorry, got the jitters today. I can show you the mounts we designed. Pretty certain they're going to be pretty robust. I took some notes, or read my notes off of Megalander, the sliders I built for that, and for those of you that have followed that build and what we do with that truck, the sliders have saved the truck. We use them pretty hard. Yeah, it's a mega cab, so I don't know, 160 some inches, 64 I think. These are not quite that big. They're like 132, 131 point something, close enough to 132 for government work. No, Aaron, no way in aluminum. They'll never live in aluminum. Aluminum sliders just flat don't work, in my opinion. I know the industry thinks everything should be aluminum because they're light and blah, blah, blah. You know, that's great if you're building a mall crawler, but if you're actually going to take a Jeep out and wheel it like we do, aluminum sliders will never live, not on something this big. There's just too much weight distribution that the slider has to support. I mean, these things have a curb weight of 5,000 pounds, plus or minus a couple. Depends on how they're equipped, but you know, a fully loaded Rubicon with steel bumpers from the factory, if I was looking at the books the other day, 51 and some change, call it 5,200 pounds. That's just curb weight. Then you got to put my fat ass in it, so there's another 250, and you put another guy in it, there's another 250, so you know, there's another 500 pounds. So now you're talking about rolling down the road in an absolutely empty truck at, shouldn't do math in public, but 5,700 pounds. Then you throw all your gear in the back. I mean, it's a 6,500 pound truck on the trail, and it's simple math. look up the specs on them, do the math yourself. You know, you got a small pickup bed, so you're going to haul stuff. Stuff weighs stuff, you know. So yeah, 6,200 pound trail weight. I mean, that's a given. I mean, I don't think there's any way around it. And then for the guys that are playing with, you know, aftermarket diffs and 40s and blah, 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 I mean, you push one of these to 7,000 pounds before you know what hit you. So aluminum sliders, it's a gimmick. Sorry, it's just my opinion. World according to Bob, but it's a waste of time. So anyway, so we got the slider done, and I see Mary's here. So hang on, let me try that again. There we go. There's Mary. So we have, I don't know, some of you probably have seen her post on Sunday. Mary got a new hot rod this weekend.
I don't know if it's hot.
Well, we could always put a Hemi in it. So we found a Gladiator on a lot here in Wyoming. Had been sitting a while, and they had good deals for the end of May and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. They aluminum sliders do not work. Not in the real world. So, but Mary's new toy, yeah, if our Line-X guy gets moving a little quicker today, it might have a bed liner in it yet. But anyway, let's talk about the sliders first, and then Mary's got something she wants to talk about. There you can see the slider off the Jeep. And see the mounts. So as you're looking at it is how it goes on the Jeep. What's closest to you is the back by the rear tire. So that mount will take about anything you can throw at it. Jason and I scratched our heads for a little bit for that one. But it's quite the robust mount. It's a 3-bolt flange. It kind of tucks up. Well, let me show you on Mary's because it's in the way on Sean's. So right up there above your lower control arm mount in that, I don't know if I can reach it, there, right in that space. So we do have to remove about 1.5 inches of this body mount. I'll get more detailed instructions video on that when we do the install on Thursday. I got the guys over at the Jeep shop scrambling to get some stuff out of the way so we can actually fully install these. The install's not for the faint of heart, sorry, but if you're going to wheel one of these, you need a slider that's going to be robust, and we decided to make them a bolt-on part versus a weld-on. I'm not sold on welding to this frame. We've done a few JL things that required cutting and welding, and I'm not a fan. It doesn't weld real well. It's some high-tech alloy. It does not respond to MIG welding, in my opinion. So I did not want to weld on part. And I also did not want to weld on part because sliders are meant to take abuse, and you need to take them off from time and again to do maintenance, you know, rust prevention type stuff, repaint them, repowder coat them, whatever. And a weld on part, well, it's welded on. And some of the other places that weld on parts will hose you down the road is when you start modifying suspension. Now you have things welded on that may or may not play with the particular suspension part you want to change. So anyway, oh yeah, you should see some of these welds, Brian. Holy cow, they're horrible. Yeah, I could go on a 2-hour rant on that deal. But we won't. So it is what it is. The slider, they're going to be really robust, as robust as we can make them. I mean, there's people out there that break Dana 80s and 14 bolts, if that connection isn't applied to or is broken to your right foot, you can break anything. But as we see the market for these trucks, I don't really think you're going to be slamming them through South Dakota anyway.
Not me.
So anyway, with all that being said, what's the overall weight, Steve? We haven't weighed them yet. As soon as they're cool enough where I can handle one, I'll go jump on the scales and figure it out. They're not light, I'll tell you that. I'm guessing, I have no idea. They're heavy. So we'll get Mary on here and she can talk about what she wants to.
Are like 85 pounds for the twos, so
right.
It's got to be at least 100 pounds.
For that pair, yeah.
At least the mounts are bigger and they're longer.
Right. So either you stay, yeah, I'll move because the sun's killing that.
Okay.
There, now we can see you.
Okay. My turn?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, everybody. Got this thing that I dragged my feet on getting one of these because I was like, no, I don't want one. All right, so I sucked it up, and for the company, I got one. Now I need help giving it a name. We are going to do a little contest. You guys give me a name for this. I don't know what. Remember, it's me driving it, so come up with a good name. And I'm going to give away a free t-shirt because we just got a whole bunch of new t-shirts, which I want Bob to follow me into the other shop, into the front of the shop, show you guys all of that.
Speak up, louder.
Okay, that's because we're outside. So I need a name. Whoever gives me the best name is going to get a free t-shirt. I'm going to let you know. Remember that it's silver, it's Mary's, it's TNT. Come up with something cool. Let's go up front. Bob, you follow me since you got the phone. I'm going to show you our new t-shirts. We got a whole bunch. As we go past our motor home.
Couple more weeks. Speaking of being on the road, Cotty wanted me to mention, for those that are following along, 605 on the Rocks, there we go. Our annual event up in South Dakota is at capacity. If your registration arrives by tomorrow, 3rd of June, or postmarked.
You might get in.
Postmarked. Has to be postmarked by the 3rd of June. Anything after that, a simple way to say it is don't bother mailing it because we're full. And even those getting mailed on the 3rd of June, going to be right there. So it's great that event is full. So we'll see you guys up there in a couple of weeks. So back to Mary and her other thing.
Okay, I got two things. Two contests going on. Number one is I need a name for my new Gladiator. And when we get that, I'm going to give away one of those t-shirts over there that we're going to show you.
Yeah, we'll go show you in a minute.
But also for Linex, for Father's Day, I need you guys to go to the Linex page. We are giving away one of these awesome Linex coolers filled with all this great stuff. We got beer from the Accomplice, we got hats, we got sodas, we got shirts, Master Train stickers, we got all kinds of really cool stuff for giving away. So I was keeping it kind of local, but if you go to my Linex page, find that post.
Which is?
Linex of Cheyenne.
There you go.
Go on there and put a little comment about how you're a dad and what you do with this cooler if you want.
There is a rule. How do they comment?
Yeah, I just said it, Bob. Go and tell me what you're going to do with this cooler. I'm a dad. Well, this is what I do with my cooler.
Right.
That's all you got to do to get entered in. I was keeping it local, but if you want me to ship it to you, you pay shipping. I'll ship it to you. You people got to get in on the action, though. You got to go to the Linex of Cheyenne page in order to do it. Commenting on TNT doesn't get you entered in.
Right, it's got to be Linex of Cheyenne.
Okay.
And also, if we're shipping it, we're not allowed to sell or ship
beer,
alcohol. So I'll
there.
keep the beer, and I'll think of you.
Maybe I can connect with one of your local breweries and get you a beer for putting in there. Okay, so yesterday we got all these new shirts.
Boxes and boxes and more boxes.
When we were in Vegas, we set up a thing with these guys in Vegas, and we finally got shirts. Okay, we got the new gray ones with the big TNT. We got the new blue ones.
Hold that up, because it's, there you go.
Here, I'll put them together. Gray, blue, and darker gray. These ones, we have all sizes of every one of these. So whoever picks the name of my new Gladiator, I'm going to send you off one of these. You guys, we'll come up with some more contests. Either that or watch soon. I'll have these on the website. You can buy them. They won't be that expensive. Hopefully you'll see us at events. We'll have them there. Try to spread the TNT love. So let me know if you want one. I'll work on getting them out with all the other products. So that's about all I think we know here at TNT Land this week. You got anything else?
No, I think that's about it. So remember, there's 2 contests going on. So name the Gladiator and keep it PG, please. And also go over to Linex of Cheyenne's Facebook page and enter the cooler contest. I'm going to keep plugging along on these JT sliders. Obviously, we have another one kind of in the fleet. So we did the prototype on Sean's Rubicon. Now we'll take all of those parts once they're installed, and then transfer them to Mary's. Make sure there's nothing funny between a Sport and a Rubicon. If there is, we'll figure out what subtle differences there are and then make adjustments. So probably next week, I'm thinking we'll announce a pre-order sale on these. We're got materials inbound. They should be here by the end of the week, so we should be able to build a fairly good sized batch of them. Also work on getting final pricing figured out, and shipping. How we're going to ship them is still to be determined. And then we'll announce all of that next week, what final retail is, what shipping is, blah, blah, blah. And start taking pre-orders so we can gauge how big of a first run we need to make. In the meantime, we'll keep plugging along here at TNT like we always do. For those of you out and about, keep your heads down, keep your powder dry, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.